Over 60% of IELTS candidates lose marks in writing Task 1 because they misinterpret bar charts. In this video, you'll see me transform confusing bar charts into Band 9 paragraphs, step by step. I've helped thousands of IELTS students improve from a Band 6.5 to a Band 8 and even a Band 9 by refining their Task 1 writing. Let's get started. Look at the bar chart on the screen. Take a screenshot if you need to. Now, I am going to show you two students' responses to that same bar chart. Student A's response. The chart shows that technology usage increased. I think this happened because people became more interested in modern devices and social media became popular. Now let's look at Student B's response. The bar chart illustrates the percentage of households owning various technological devices in 2010 and 2020, revealing significant growth across all categories. You can pause the video or take a screenshot. If you chose Student B's response, you understand that bar charts are about comparing quantities, not explaining why those quantities exist. Student A's response falls into the analysis trap, while Student B's response demonstrates the precise skill being tested, which is accurate data comparison and description. Let me tell you about Ahmed from Egypt, who transformed his bar chart approach completely. Ahmed initially struggled with bar charts because he tried to find complex patterns that weren't there. I gave him a bar chart comparing 2010 and 2020 technology ownership. I want you to pay attention to how he described the bar chart above. The increase in smartphone usage shows that society is becoming more digital, and this is probably because of social media and the younger generation's preferences. This approach kept him stuck at Band 5.5 for months. Then he learned what I'm about to teach you, the bar chart formula. After just 2 weeks of focused practice with this system, Ahmed was consistently hitting Band 7+ on bar chart questions. The key insight was that bar charts reward systematic comparison and accurate data reporting, not complex analysis. Here's the exact formula that transformed Ahmed's results. The most important thing is your structure. Number 1 being the introduction. This has to be one sentence of you paraphrasing the question. 2. Overview. Many students skip this. Write 2 to 3 sentences where you identify the most significant comparisons. 3. The body consists of 2 paragraphs, one comparing specific categories or periods, and the other comparing the remaining categories with supporting data. Let me show you this in action with a real IELTS bar chart. Look at this bar chart for 15 seconds and identify the 2 most significant features. Don't worry about specific numbers, just the big picture comparisons. Here's what different students I teach identified. Akim. In 2010, smartphones were 20% and in 2020, they were 85%. Laptops were 50% in 2010 and 75% in 2020. David. Smartphones increased by 65% while laptops increased by 25%. Mohammed. Overall, smartphones showed the most dramatic increase while traditional devices like landlines declined significantly. Which student do you think gave a Band 5 answer? Akim listed data without comparison. That's Band 5 thinking. David focused on calculations rather than patterns. That's Band 6 thinking. Mohammed identified the most significant comparisons. That's Band 8 thinking. Think of Task 1 like building a pyramid with 4 precise layers. Each layer has a specific function, and when you understand this structure, you can apply it to any chart type. The foundation is your introduction, the second layer is your overview, and the top 2 layers are your detailed paragraphs. But here's the secret most students miss. The overview paragraph is your golden ticket to Band 7 and above. Let's look at these in detail. At the end, I will give you a full written Band 9 sample. Step 1. The introduction. The biggest mistake I see is students copying the question word for word. Instead, you need to paraphrase intelligently. Here are 5 different bar chart responses and their Band 9 transformed answers. Example 1. Original response. The bar chart shows the percentage of households with different types of technology in 2010 and 2020. Transformed answer. The bar graph illustrates the proportion of families owning various technological devices across 2 decades. Example 2. Original answer. The chart displays the number of visitors to 3 museums over 6 months. Transformed answer. The bar chart demonstrates visitor attendance figures for 3 cultural institutions during a half-year time frame. Example 3. Original answer. The bar chart compares the amount of money spent on different categories of goods in 2 countries. Transformed answer. The bar graph contrasts expenditure patterns across various product categories in 2 nations. Example 4. Original answer. The chart shows the percentage of people in different age groups who use social media. Transformed answer. The bar chart illustrates social media usage rates across various age demographics. Example 5. Original answer. The bar chart presents information about the most popular leisure activities in 4 different cities. Transformed answer. The bar graph outlines recreational activity preferences across 4 urban areas. Notice the patterns. Chart becomes bar graph, shows becomes illustrates or demonstrates, percentage becomes proportion, different types becomes various. This immediately demonstrates your vocabulary range to the examiner. Step 2. The overview, your golden ticket. For bar charts, your overview should identify the highest and lowest values, most significant changes, or clearest patterns. Never include specific numbers, just the main comparisons. Let's look at some examples. Example 1. Comparing 2 time periods. Overall, all technology categories showed growth over the decade, with smartphones experiencing the most dramatic increase while traditional devices like landlines demonstrated the most significant decline. Example 2. Comparing countries. Overall, country A consistently showed higher spending across most categories, with the most notable differences occurring in entertainment and transportation. Example 3. Comparing age groups. Overall, younger age groups demonstrated significantly higher social media usage rates, with the most pronounced differences occurring between the under 30 and over 50 demographics. Example 4. Comparing cities. Overall, outdoor activities dominated in all cities, though City A showed distinctly higher participation rates in sports, while City B favored cultural activities. Each overview follows the same formula. Start with overall, identify the main pattern or comparison, then add one significant detail about variation or exception. Step 3. The bar chart comparison strategy. For your detailed paragraphs, use what I call the comparison strategy. Instead of describing each bar individually, group related information and make direct comparisons. Example 1. Time comparison. Examining the communication devices, smartphones showed the most dramatic transformation, surging from 20% to 85% ownership over the decade. In contrast, landlines followed the opposite trend, plummeting from 80% to 30% as mobile technology became more prevalent. Traditional phones maintained moderate stability, rising slightly from 60% to 65%. Example 2. Category comparison. Looking at the entertainment categories, television ownership remained consistently high in both years, maintaining around 95% in both 2010 and 2020. Gaming consoles showed modest growth from 40% to 55%, while streaming devices, virtually non-existent in 2010 at 5%, soared to 70% by 2020. Example 3. Country comparison. Examining the spending patterns, Country A consistently outspent Country B across most categories. The most significant differences occurred in entertainment, where Country A spent approximately $500 compared to Country B's $200, and in transportation, where Country A allocated $800 while Country B spent only $400. Step 4. Essential bar chart. Vocabulary. Here's your complete vocabulary arsenal for bar charts, organized by function. 1. Describing quantities. When describing quantities, use sentences like, accounted for approximately 25%, represented nearly half of the total, comprised the majority at 60%, made up roughly 1/3, constituted a significant portion. 2. Making comparisons. For comparisons, use the following sentences, in contrast to, while X showed, Y demonstrated. Similarly, both categories. Conversely, the opposite trend. By comparison, the figures were. 3. Describing changes. Time comparison. experienced a dramatic increase, showed a moderate decline, remained relatively stable, fluctuated between X and Y, demonstrated consistent growth. 4. Describing extremes, dominated the category, accounted for the smallest share, represented the highest values, constituted the lowest figures, formed the majority of. Now let's look at common bar chart mistakes and how you can avoid them. Mistake number 1, describing each bar separately. This is the wrong approach. Let's look at an example. In 2010, smartphones were 20%. In 2020, smartphones were 85%. In 2010, laptops were 50%. In 2020, laptops were 75%. Now, see the correct way to describe the bar chart. Smartphones demonstrated the most dramatic change, surging from 20% to 85%, while laptops showed more moderate growth from 50% to 75%. Mistake number 2, adding explanations. Let me show you an example of the wrong approach. Smartphone ownership increased because of social media popularity and younger generations preferring digital communication. Below is how you should write, smartphone ownership increased substantially from 20% to 85% over the decade. Mistake number 3, ignoring comparisons. For example, smartphones increased by 65 percentage points over the period. That is wrong. The correct response is, smartphones showed the most significant increase at 65 percentage points, far exceeding the growth seen in other categories. Mistake number 4, overcomplicating your analysis. Make it simple and to the point. Let me show you what this looks like and how to simplify effectively. Overcomplicated example. The multifaceted interplay between various demographic factors resulted in a complex pattern of technological adoption rates, with smartphones demonstrating a paradigmatic shift in communication preferences that reflects broader societal transformations in digital connectivity patterns. Simplified Band 9. Example. Smartphone ownership increased dramatically from 20% to 85%, representing the most significant change in communication device preferences over the decade. Do you see the difference? Now, it is time to give you what I promised before. Let me show you a complete Band 9 response to a bar chart. Take a screenshot and follow along. Question. The bar chart shows the percentage of households owning different types of technology in 2010 and 2020. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Band 9. Response. The bar chart illustrates the proportion of households owning various technological devices across 2 decades, comparing ownership rates in 2010 and 2020. Overall, all technology categories showed growth over the decade, with smartphones experiencing the most dramatic increase while traditional landlines demonstrated the most significant decline. Communication devices showed the most pronounced changes compared to entertainment devices. Examining the communication devices, smartphones showed the most dramatic transformation, surging from approximately 20% to 85% ownership over the decade. In contrast, landlines followed the opposite trend, plummeting from 80% to 30% as mobile technology became more prevalent. Traditional phones maintained moderate stability, rising slightly from 60% to 65%. Looking at the entertainment categories, television ownership remained consistently high in both years, maintaining around 95% in both 2010 and 2020. Gaming consoles showed modest growth from 40% to 55%, while streaming devices, virtually non-existent in 2010 at 5%, soared to 70% by 2020, representing the second largest increase after smartphones. The word count is 165 words. Subscribe to the channel. Watch the other videos on the screen. All the best in your preparation.